Hey guys, it's Jenny. Welcome back to Solid Gold, and today is a super exciting day because there's something really big happening out in the fish room. Let's go take a look. It's noon right now, so the crew is currently out on a lunch break, which is the perfect opportunity for me to come in here with the camera while there's not a whole bunch of music and construction noise and fans blowing, and show you guys what's been happening out here for the past couple of days. You may remember from a video I did, actually I think it was a couple weeks ago now, that I was saying that we still hadn't reached our fundraising goal. That goal is something that needs to be hit to be able to complete this fish room, but I decided to just take a huge leap of faith here and jump in head first with this project, even without having all the necessary funding to get it completed, because I really wanted to get it going and to be able to show you guys something, especially for those of you who have already donated, which I appreciate so much. Honestly, without you guys, none of this or anything that's to come would be able to happen. So I really wanted to be able to show you guys some progress. But anyways, I just got back from visiting my family in Minnesota for about 8 days, so that was really nice to be able to see them. She thirsty?
She's so thirsty. Oh no, she's drowning!
CPR!
CPR!
Yep. Watch our rope, you guys.
Yay!
A little bit small.
Yeah, but it's still a feeder.
Good job, Mom. What'd you get?
Got a bluegill!
Oh, it's cute. Look at its orange tummy. Which is why it took a couple of weeks after I made that announcement to actually start the progress, but the project has been started since yesterday, so this is the second day only, and already quite a bit has happened. There's so much raw material just laying around everywhere, like these huge bundles of insulation. There's tons of them. They're all over the place. They just go on for days, it seems. And then all of these sheets of sheetrock. They said they weighed like 100 pounds per sheet, so my crew loaded those up from the hardware store for me this morning and brought them here. That would be so much work just in and of itself. I can't even imagine. And then all of this other stuff, all these 2x4s. They've got one wall framed out already, and they have some electrical boxes put in and then some insulation in the walls already, and they're just going to continue on down the line like that. And then today they started on framing out this wall. We took out this fan that was up here. It's just not going to be necessary in my new fish room design because it had those flaps that kind of close when the fan's off, but they're not really sealed, so it wouldn't make sense to have that big gaping hole in the wall when I'm, you know, insulating everything fully. And then they're gonna just continue on down the line to this wall, and once they get to this door, actually, we're taking this door out. I needed more wall space for the design and the plan that I have. I want to put a bunch of cabinets in here in addition to filling as much of the walls as I can with aquariums. So this door just has to go. So that door's going to be covered up. Now luckily the cool thing is back here we have found this extra piece of sheet metal that is exactly the same as what was used to make this building. It was just hiding back under there underneath a whole bunch of brush and twigs and stuff like that. So they pulled this out and it looks to be in fairly good condition, so they'll be able to match the color and just cover up where that door used to be. So in the next 1 or 2 days here, we're gonna order the big sliding glass door. Originally I was gonna go with a French door, but we decided to go with the sliding glass door because it'll be a lot cheaper. And the sliding doors actually lift up off of the track of the frame that they're in, so you can still take off both doors and have a big opening to get things in and out. So going with a sliding door instead of French doors because it'll be cheaper and it'll still work for what I need it to do. And then yeah, and then we're gonna take this roll-up door down. That's gonna be a beast. So then obviously the space left behind from the roll-up door is a lot bigger than what I need for the new sliding glass door, so they're gonna have to frame out a wall there basically too, and we're gonna have to try and get some new sheet metal to match what's on the outside of the building. So that'll be kind of tricky, but I think eventually I'm gonna paint this building anyways. So we'll try to match the color as good as we can, but you know, it's not that big of a deal if it doesn't match. And then there's gonna be a window here and here, one on each side of the sliding glass door. We're also doing plenty of outlets since there's going to be so many different aquariums in here. We're planning on putting one there. You can see there's already one put in right here, roughed in. We've got one roughed in here as well. And there's going to be one here and here and here on this wall, one in the middle, and so on. There's just going to be tons. So this is kind of my my working plan for this area. Of course, it's so humid out here. It's like 90 degrees here today, super sunny, really hot, and very, very humid. Like the minute you walk out, you're drenched in sweat because it's that humid. But yeah, so my paper's curling up. But this is kind of like my working plan that I'm going with. I drew this when I was still gonna do a 6-foot door, but now I'm actually gonna do an 8-foot door because I just need that extra space to be able to get large things in and out of this room. I'm gonna have a series of racked aquariums across this wall here. So that's this wall here, the one that's already pretty well framed out. And as you guys know, those are gonna be donated to this project from Custom Aquariums, which is super, super generous of them. We are also talking about doing, let's see here, doing a 2,300 gallon completely glass aquarium right in the middle of the room, and still working out the logistics of that because that is a huge amount of water to put in a space, especially when you're talking about having it made completely of glass. That's going to be insane. Can you imagine? But I want that to be right in the middle of the room here, and as long as we can work all the details out with that, they are donating that to the project as well, which is amazing. I also definitely want to work in some terrariums in this room. It's not going to be strictly a fish room. I'm going to have other animals in here too, probably not too many, but some, because you know I have my 2 leopard geckos, and I've always wanted to get poison dart frogs, so I'm kind of leaving some room for expansion there. But this will be like 2 or 3 terrariums stacked on top of each other. Behind the aquarium, the big aquarium here, there'll be a space for filtration to go on that wall. So you'll be able to walk around the entire room this way, just not going behind here. Actually, this may be a platform, so I might put steps and then you can just walk on top of it, so you'll still be able to walk around the entire room. But we'll see how everything works out. And then here in this corner, which would be like that corner there, I want to have like a little seating area. Nothing too elaborate, but just something, I mean, if I'm going to all this trouble and all this work of having all of my animals out here, I really want to be able to sit out here somewhere and enjoy them, you know what I mean? Otherwise, what's the point? So there's going to be probably a couch there or something, just a small one, and then there's a space back there for the water heater. Of course, this room's going to need a water heater for all of these fish tanks that are going to need specific temperatures for their water. And then along this wall, which is the wall we're facing, there's going to be a little desktop countertop area with a couple of stools and some cabinets above it. And that's going to be for, you know, putting my microscope on, maybe my laptop, doing some work out here while I'm in the fish room. There's going to be a fridge and probably a microwave too, so I can make and store my fish food out here instead of having to go back and forth between the house and the fish room just to feed my fish. It'll be nice to have the you know, the frozen food and the refrigerated fish food out here so I can just grab it and feed them instead of going back and forth. With this many tanks and animals all in one space, I'm also going to need a ton of storage, so I have a couple of really tall cabinet units planned out for right there. And then this part right here underneath the window will just be like a countertop space with a sink basin sunk into a cabinet. And that pretty much finishes it off. So I know it's kind of hard to envision right now, but just thinking about like the space. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention too is I'd like to have maybe 2 or 3 stacked 110-gallon blue poly tubs that I can keep goldfish in, and even maybe raise goldfish fry if I happen to have some. So for that, I'm thinking of putting it in this corner here. That'll be right near the window, so it'll give it some natural light, which will be nice for that application. And then all down this wall is where there's going to be just a big huge row of stacked Custom Aquariums racking systems. For the first 3 units, I want to have 2 stacked 100-gallon tanks that are roughly the same proportions as a 40-gallon breeder, because goldfish really like to swim side to side and back and forth. They don't do much up and down swimming. They really just kind of use the bottom of the tank, so a shallower tank is best for them. So that'll give me 600 total gallons of space for goldfish, which I think should be plenty. And then I would also like to have a couple tanks with some different dimensions so I can experiment with other fish. You guys know I currently have a few discus in a 90-gallon aquarium in my living room in my house, but I would like to eventually move the discus out here. I also would love to get angelfish. I also have I have so many ideas of all kinds of other fish that I would like to keep and be able to show you guys in videos. Even saltwater fish I think would be cool to expand into, but that'll be a ways down the road, obviously. But yeah, there's so many different things that would be really fun to be able to experiment with and show you guys in videos. So I'm gonna have a couple of other tanks as well. Next to the 3 double stacked units for goldfish, I'm gonna have 1 unit with double stacked tanks. They're gonna be about 100 gallons as well, but they're gonna have different dimensions. They're just gonna be a little bit taller than they are deep, you know, from front to back. So that'll accommodate some fish that like to swim more vertically than goldfish do, like discus and angelfish. And then next to that, I would also like to have some of these paludarium type aquariums that Custom Aquariums makes. They actually call them amphibious tanks, and they're so cool because they can have, I think it's like 10 inches of water on the bottom, or actually, it's called Custom Aquariums, right? So they can make them to any dimensions that you specify, but I think for mine I'm gonna have about 10 inches of water on the bottom, and then the rest is just air. And it's really cool because you can have plants growing immersed, so their roots are underwater, but the plants' leaves and stuff are, you know, growing out of the water, or you can have some terrestrial plants stuck onto a background above the water, and then underneath you can have live aquatic plants. And the different types of animals that you can keep in those tanks are different, of course, than a strictly aquarium tank. So it's going to be really cool. I know that I definitely want to move my axolotls out here and put them in probably one of those tanks, because I think I can make it look really, really pretty with terrestrial plants on top and then the axolotls on the bottom, you know, in their little environments. So there's just so many different possibilities with that, you guys. It's gonna be awesome. And then coming around the corner here, I will have probably 3 terrariums stacked one on top of the other. My leopard geckos obviously will go in one of them. And I've also always wanted poison dart frogs, so that's a possibility. And maybe a day gecko. I recently rediscovered day geckos and how amazing and awesome they are. So, you know, I would like to be able to expand a little bit and show you guys some different things other than just fish all the time, because I like all kinds of animals, you guys, not just fish, although I probably like fish the most. So that would be roughly about there, and then of course the huge 2,300 gallon aquarium would be sticking out into the room, and that would take up a huge amount of this space. It's gonna stick out from the wall probably about 2.5 feet or so to allow for the filtration to live behind it. But then the tank itself is 15 feet, so it's gonna stick out really, really far. This building is 23 feet from this end to the back. So it's gonna stick out probably to about like here or so. It's gonna be a substantial part of this building, and that will allow me to house some bigger fish that can't necessarily be kept in the average aquarium. So I'm really excited about that. That's gonna be insane, can you imagine? And then in this corner, like I said, there will be the little seating area, and then this whole wall will pretty much be dedicated to, you know, non-fish things like storage units and counter space for doing some microscope work at, laptop use, you know, whatever I need it for. And then coming around to this corner, there's going to be a sink there. So that's the plan. I really hope that you can start to see things coming together a little bit more and start to envision a little better how it's going to look in the space, and get as excited as I am. I'm excited, but I'm also really nervous because this is a huge project and it's a lot to take on, but oh my gosh, it is so exciting, isn't it? It's gonna be awesome when it's done. So awesome. But that actually leads me to something else that I need to talk about, which is the funding. So yes, it's gonna be awesome when it's done, but currently the funding isn't there to get it done. And I'll kind of show you guys what I mean by that. So the goal for this project, as you guys know, was $25,000, and so far with what we have spent already, we are pretty well right on track with that goal being accurate, which is really cool to see. We have got to almost half of the original goal amount. So far we've raised about $12,440. And here's what has been spent so far. $832 has been spent on putting in the water line, which I just realized I didn't show you guys that part yet. So I will insert a few clips of that. But basically I had a plumbing company come out and they ran a flexible plastic tubing water line directly from my main water out by the road. And they ran it all the way through my front yard, all the way through my backyard, and then wrapped around the garage, and then put in a spigot for me right here in the fish room. So I finally had running water. That was probably about 2 weeks ago. Finally had running water out here, and it was really, really nice for being able to do my water changes because the spigot was just right there, and I no longer had to run a huge, long, Frankenstein together Python hose system from my house out to the fish room. It just made water changes so much easier. So that was super, super nice to finally have that running water here in the fish room. And actually my crew that I have here now is going to tie into this existing temporary spigot that the plumbing company gave me, and they're going to run water lines to back to the water heater, which is going to be back there in that corner. That's really the only place that it would fit. And then back to where the sink is going to be, which is here. And then actually from that, they're going to leave like a capped off spigot for me so that when they're all done doing the work on the building, I can come around with some PVC piping and do my automatic water change system the way that I want to do it. So I'll do that part probably myself. But anyways, so $832 was spent on the water line. Then we've already spent $2,224 on the sheetrock installation, some electrical supplies, etc. Basically anything that you see happening here in the fish room now today. That's how much all of this stuff cost just to, you know, get things started and make it happen. And then I also bought online, I bought the AC unit, which is a super high efficiency ductless mini split AC unit. It's 30,000 BTUs. It's gonna really cool this place down very efficiently and also help to keep the humidity out, which in fish rooms is a huge problem. So that was $1,330. And then I'm estimating the windows and the sliding glass door are gonna be around $1,800, but I don't know for sure yet. I'm also estimating the labor to be around $5 to $6 grand. So when you subtract all of that, that only leaves about $750 left in the funds, which is not enough to do everything else that is needed. I put copper lines here, but I'm actually probably not gonna do copper lines because I don't want to use copper in the fish room. I forgot when I wrote this, but yeah, so still needed is the water heater and then the water lines that I'm going to need to run everything together, the sink, the cabinets, automatic water change system, lighting, flooring, incidentals, because even so far as we've been going, there's been things that my crew came to me and they're like, oh, we forgot to buy this and we really need this, you know, just miscellaneous things. We still need like outlet covers and the outlets themselves. Right now they just have the electrical boxes. We still need to buy all the stuff to finish those off. Things like that. Miscellaneous materials, and I'm sure tons of other stuff that I'm forgetting. Because I've never really done a project like this before, and I know what I want the end result to be and pretty much what I need to do to get there, but there's always things that pop up that I just didn't think about, you know? So, oh my gosh, we still have so much left to do, and I know everyone's really, really excited to see this project fully finished, as am I, of course, but I'm only going to be able to do what I have the funds to be able to do. So, and I've told you guys that, you know, from the beginning, that, you know, I'm just going to get as far as I can with whatever we can raise, and you guys have been so amazing so far in helping to raise the money that we have right now, which is amazing, and can't even express how grateful I am for that you guys are really making this happen for us. It is so cool. But yeah, like I said, you know, I can only get as far as what the funding allows for, and I am still keeping the fundraiser open. So if you guys are, you know, more excited now that you can see things coming together and you can see like a concrete solid plan and things are happening, and you would like to donate, you can still do that. I have a donate link down in the description section below and in the comments below. I'll put it there too. Let's make this happen, guys. We can do this. I'm sure a lot of you guys are also wondering where the fish are, so I'll show you that too. I actually have them temporarily set up out here right now, and I went and got this canopy thing so they can be protected from the sun and so leaves don't fall into the water quite as much. And this is just my 600-gallon blue poly tank that I had in the fish room previously. I spent the better part of a day before all the construction started getting this all set up out here, and it's doing good. I've also got my net over it, and all of my goldfish are in here, and everybody's doing really well. I know it's kind of hard to see through the mesh net, and it really takes 2 people to put it back on, so I don't want to take it off right now, but they're all doing really, really good. No more signs of any parasites that were bothering them before. And they seem to be happy and active even outside here in these warm temperatures. So, yep, I've just got my 600-gallon tub here, the canopy over it. This is kind of, yeah, whatever here, but there's my linear piston air pump. Tried to cover it from the elements with a bucket, and then the tube coming out of that, and then I set up this PVC tubing to run the air in a closed loop, and that's just going all around the top of the entire canopy. So you can see here, this is the PVC, it's just tied on with these zip ties, and then I have my airline valves coming out of there, and then the tubing, and that's hooked over this cord just to keep the tubing out of the way, and then it drops down through the mesh netting. Actually, the holes are like just the right size for the tubing to go through. And then I've got 6 sponge filters running in there right now. I also still have some fry that were spawned and hatched. Oh my gosh, I don't even know how long ago that was now. Probably like 4 months. They're not all that big. They should be bigger right now for how old they are, but I had the issues with the parasites, and it really stunted their growth. So I still have them. There's probably about, I think I counted like 20 or 21 of them left currently, and they're doing well. Just not growing as fast as they could be. I am pushing growth a little bit better now though, now that they're all over their parasite issues that they were having, and the other fish are doing well too. Oh my gosh, I'm not even like working out here, I'm just standing out here and I'm already sweating profusely. I feel so bad for my crew having to work in this, but the AC will be here soon, so won't be for too much longer. But anyways, thank you guys for being patient with me on getting you this update. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the progress that's being made so far. This Friday's video will be another in my Japan series of videos because I still have some more footage from that to show you guys, but probably next Tuesday I'll do another update on the fish room progress that's being made out here, and I think in a week there's going to be a lot that's getting done, so definitely stay tuned for that. Also, make sure you're watching my Facebook page and my Instagram account and my Snapchat, because I'll probably be posting something almost daily on at least one of those accounts. So in the meantime, until my next video update on this comes out, you can follow me on there for mini updates. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can see all of my new videos as soon as they come out. If you're already subscribed, also hit that bell button so you're notified every time I make a new video and you never miss one. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay gold.